Hey guys, welcome back to CheatSheetPros.com. First of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody for bearing with me. For those of you that don't know, about 2 weeks ago, my mother-in-law suddenly passed away, so it's been just a crazy time and a whole lot of stuff to take care of, but we're getting back in the swing of things, so I'm going to start posting some more videos and articles and really ramp up the content on the website, so thank you. Last night on our GPP algo plays, we had Damian Lillard go off for 6.7x value. Westbrook went off for 6.3x value. And then Melo, he hit 5x, so just right at that number. And then Reggie Jackson, someone that I really like that I wrote up in the early article, went for 8.3x. He was in a smash DVP spot. And then TJ Warren went for 6.1x. So 5 of our top 6 GPP algo plays did really well once again last night. I don't always have time to post the recap, but I try to do it at least 2 or 3 times a week to let you know what went really well on the sheet last night. So I have about 7 guys I want to hit on today, so let's go ahead and get started and see if we can get through this. So you can see here on the screenshot, I've highlighted the guys in green that I want to talk about that I have some interest in looking at for January 30th for early play. So Pat Bev, you can see right here, he's got a total edge of 176, and if you're new to watching these videos, we're looking for people with a total edge over 100 and minutes projected over 30, and then this is our grade tab of how we go through and look at everything. So you can see he's projected just under 30 minutes, so he doesn't quite meet the qualification, but over the last 4 games, he's played an average of 22.2 minutes, and he's putting up 5.7x value, which you can see right here. So in 22 minutes, he's beating his value, and tonight he's projected to go for 29 minutes. So if he does, he's going to go well over 6x. So I like him as a GPP play. Another thing that I like over here is looking at the fantasy point per minute for the year versus the last 6. So on the year, he's 0.89. Over the last 6 games, he's jumped to 1.24 for a 39% increase in production. So we like guys in good DVB spots that are playing really well. And you can see his DVP spot over here is 1.08. And again, if you're new, DVP spot over 0.9 is great. Below 0.85 is kind of a red flag. Below 0.8 is a huge red flag. And if you get over 1.1, that's an absolute smash spot. He's at 1.08, so that's a really good spot to be in. Donovan Mitchell, he's another guy that I really like tonight. We've got him projected to go over 6x value. He's barely over the total edge of 100. His minutes are there. So he's been playing 32.3 minutes per game over the last 4, and he's been averaging a whopping 6x value in all of those games. So he's absolutely smashing right now. The reason we like him, he's priced at only $7,200 on DK, and he easily has 50-point upside. He has a last 10 ceiling, which you can see over here, of 62.5. So that would be phenomenal. And again, my ceiling games, I take something they've done in the last 10 games. So it's a rolling last 10. So I don't care what someone did 2 months ago at the beginning of the season. Also, his fantasy point production is 1.0 on the year, and it's up to 1.26 over his last 6 games for a 27% increase. DVP spot is also good at 1.01. So he's someone that I'm really looking at as probably a core tonight. Utah is typically not a team that's going to have a monster edge just because they play lower scoring games and they have lower totals. But Donovan Mitchell, I really like tonight. Another one, if you want to pay up, is Ben Simmons. He's been absolute fire, playing 37.2 minutes per game over the last 4. He's averaging 54 points and 6.1x. Embiid coming back didn't really hurt his production. Nito was on fire last time, and so Ben Simmons actually told the coach to leave Nito in because he was just hitting everything. So that's why his production was down a little bit. But he's got a last 10 ceiling of 84. So that's huge for a GPP. Now, he is on the higher side of 8,900, so he's a little bit more expensive, but I don't mind paying up for him. Pretty consistent here in his fantasy point per minute production, and his DVP spot is 0.99, so that's pretty solid. I think he's someone you can build around in cash. I don't mind using him in GPPs as well. JAYSON Tatum is the next guy. He's questionable tonight, so the coach said he's going to come back in one of his next 2 games. So I don't know if that was the last game in this game or this game in the next game. So keep an eye on him with the Q tag. But he's someone here who he's got the total edge over 100 minutes over 30. And in 33.7 minutes, he's putting up about 5.5x with the 63.5 DK point upside, which is huge. DVP spot 0.96, that's solid, and he's only $7,600. Now, coming back off of an injury, he might be limited on minutes, so be careful. Don't lock him into all of your lineups, but if you're doing a multiple lineup contest, put him in a couple just to have some exposure to him. The next guy that I feel really safe with is Kemba Walker. So he has a monster edge here of 171.6, and he's projected at 33 minutes. So these guys, 32 to 35 minutes are all, it kind of sits about the same. So he's been playing 34.6 minutes, which you can see here, averaging 44 DK points for 5.6x value. His fantasy point per minute production has kind of maintained the same, and then he has a solid DVP spot of 1.12 to his position. So great smash spot. If Tatum doesn't play, I may lock him in with Donovan Mitchell and build around those two guys tonight. If Tatum does play, I'll have at least 50% exposure to Kemba. And then going down here, if you want to pay up, Trae Young isn't terrible. Now, I will tell you the red flag on him, this edge right here is below 100. He's at 80.1. So anytime you get a total edge below 100, it's someone that I'm not going to lock in. I will have some exposure to him if I like him, but someone to be careful of. But he has been absolute fire recently. Now, he is 9,900. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a horse in my throat. But he's averaging 61.3 DK points over his last 4 games. That's phenomenal. That's 6.2x value. He has a last 10 ceiling of 80.3, so he plays no defense and he takes a ton of shots, so we like that for DFS. And this is the reason I want to consider using him. This jumps out at me here. So his fantasy point per minute production is 1.35, and it's jumped up to 1.68 over the last 6 games, which is phenomenal. I mean, you're getting up in Westbrook-Harden production at this point. That's a 24% increase. Now, the red flag that's bringing his total edge down is his DVP spot is 0.85, and that's right at our red flag number. But Trae Young's going to shoot regardless, so I don't mind him. I don't think he's going to get near that 80-point game, but 50, I think he's good for cash. He could push 60, kind of depending on how the game plays out. So someone that I will have some exposure to, but since he's in a tough DVP spot with a lower edge, someone I'm going to limit my exposure to. And the last guy I want to go ahead and hit on is Chris. So he doesn't show up in a lot of value places, but he's someone that I'm looking at. He's got an edge of 116.5. I kind of like to see over 120, 125, 130. And he does not meet our qualifications. He's below the 30-minute threshold. So if you remember those guys that are projected for 20, 25 minutes, there's so much variance. They may get 10 to 12 minutes. They may get 30. It's nothing consistent. But if you start looking at projected minutes 30 and more, that's when you get more consistent players. And you guys have probably seen my screenshot in the Facebook group of how to sort the grade tab to get a core group of players that are, so basically I'm going total edge over 100, minutes projected over 30, last 4 value over 4.5x, and then sorting by value or highest projected number, and that's kind of how I'm finding the core plays that I fill in with my lineups. So the reason I like Chris tonight is his fantasy point per minute production over here. It's been the same, pretty consistent, a little over 1, so there's no big dip that we're worried about. And he's been super consistent. I mean, I looked at it and he was between 22, 23 DK points up to 26 in each of his last 4 games. Just a, consistent 5.5x value. So I like using him as a punt play because he's safe. He's going to get you the points. He's not going to win you a GPP, but if that frees up enough money for you to go out and get like a Trae Young or, a couple of these other guys like Kemba, Donovan Mitchell, I don't mind putting him in a lineup. So down here you can see I just circled his DVP spot is 1.16, so massive smash spot. So I think his floor is 5x. I think he could push 6x, and who knows at that point. Draymond gets ejected all the time. If he does, then this could put more minutes down here to Chris. So that's my video for today, guys. It's January 30th. I'm glad to be back. Thank you for bearing with me. The brand new PGA sheet's been out the last 2 weeks. I have not had time to research it yet, but it's much easier to post. There's a whole lot more data, so excited to dig into that this week and see what we got. And then I'm working on some Super Bowl stuff, possibly a video for some prop bets as well, and also a video on lineup building. So thank you very much, and have a good day.